Beautiful. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to another ShareWise webinar. We're joined by the CEO, Roger Jackson of Vertex Minerals. Roger, thank you very much for joining us this morning. It's been a bit of a cold morning, obviously, here in Sydney, but I think you're going to be lining up our spirits a bit more with a few exciting questions that we're going to be answering today. So just before we start, how did you more or less get into this role, and what got you started going through these gold mines in the first place?
Well, thanks, Lachlan, and thanks for having me on ShareWise. It's much appreciated, and I'm very happy to be able to speak to shareholders and potential investors in Vertex. Look, this company started a couple of years ago upon a spin out of a project called HILL END out of a company called Peak Minerals, and Vertex was listed in early 22 on the basis of this flagship project, HILL END. I was asked to join as executive chairman by the group in Perth that was setting it up, and look, you know, I jumped at the chance. I had been involved at HILL END in the past as working there as a contractor with some drilling and some other consulting work, along with my other directors who also had worked there and also felt they really would like to join this company because we believe in HILL END. We believe that this is a massive gold story. We're excited by the fact that it was almost there ready to start up, and it's probably one of the most unique gold mines in Australia. So the only issue, of course, when you're a spin out, we did get hammered by the in species previous shareholders out of Peak, and it set us off on a pretty rough start. Our share price went down, but nonetheless, we've been working consistently to a point where we are now moving into development of the HILL END gold mine.
Because you say that you describe yourselves as the only gold mine to recover gold by gravity only, but also it's possibly the greenest gold mine in Australia. With those sort of comments, what do you mean by that?
Well, look, it's just a unique ore body. I've seen nothing like it, and maybe there is on the Australian ASX, but I certainly haven't seen one that will recover by gravity at a recovery rate of 95%. Now, what that means, Lachlan, is that you're actually recovering it purely by just gravitational forces and water. There's no cyanide. There's no chemicals whatsoever. You're not floating this. You're not using leaching techniques. You're literally, well, crushing it. We don't even use a ball mill up front, which is quite unique as well. We just crush it with jaw crusher through a VSI, and then we make a concentrate out of these machines called Falcons. And look, Lachlan, they're almost like a washing machine where they spin fast. They're a conical liner inside that's got little ridges on it that sorts the fine material or the lighter material, which is the quartz, from the gold. And you know, not only that, we don't have any other metals, and most gold mines have other metals, including copper, arsenopyrite, pyrite, which are all problematic through the process and also in the tails dam. So you know, we have just the most benign tails, right? So in fact, we're not even having a tails dam. We just dry stack sand, and the sand is being tested. It qualifies to be used in cement. That's how benign this product is, and we're blessed to also have a pure gold product as well. Our gold is 23% fine, so 24 is pure. So this is a magical product. So that makes us green. You know, no cyanide, no tails dam. The tails, we'll talk about this later with the ore sorting. The tails is minimal, and we use very, very low energy. You know, a bit over 500 kilowatts will run this plant, which is just unheard of. So, and look, it is a small plant too, given the tonnage that we put through it. And but we can do that when we're one of the highest grade gold mines. So yeah.
Absolutely. And what is more or less the tonnage that we're looking for your resource at the moment?
Well, look, we're going to ramp up. So we had in our original PFS to be putting through circa 100,000 tons, but we now have a different plan, somewhat de-risking the whole project by starting up at a less throughput and using the stockpiles that we have sitting there, which we call low grade stockpiles, but they've been averaging just recently 3 grams. So pretty good low grade stockpiles. In fact, it was waste. It was thrown out in the previous trial mining. But we're aiming to ramp up, and we can do that now. And we've introduced an ore sorter to the system, and it means that probably half the material, and even better, up to 70%, gets rejected and taken back to the mine. So we're only putting 30% through the plant. So the plant will probably only run on a day shift. So yeah, the tonnage will be ramping up and moving it to, I guess, 30 or 40,000 tons throughput through the plant, but clearly we're mining more ore than that.
Absolutely, absolutely. And looking through more or less your balance sheet, it looks like you've got millions of dollars worth of infrastructure already ready to be used, and you've got millions there. The feasibility study sounds like the thing that we're going to get through at the moment, and more or less we've got a cash basis for there. What's our next big steps for our production?
Well, can I step back to talking about infrastructure, Lachlan?
Yeah.
It can't be understated that some $20 to $30 million has been spent on development.
Yep.
They trial mined this in 2009, 2010. Now they put a raise bore in to put a ventilation shaft and second egress at the top of the reward mine. Just keeping in mind that this mine is an adit entry, and that's the adit is about 300 meters below where we're talking about where the ventilation shaft was put in. But that has an Alimac conveyance in there and also a ladderway. So that gives us the second egress. It's 230 meters deep, so that costs a lot of money to put that in. They developed what we call the amalgamated adit, which is about 2.4 by 2.4 from where the gravity plant sits now to the reward mine, which is some 700 or 800 meters. And there's a number of other declines and various other bits and pieces that have been developed that cost a lot of money.
Yep.
So yes, that's part of what we picked up and when we listed, and will clearly is a massive saving to what we're doing. And in fact, who builds a gold mine for sort of circa 10 odd million dollars and gets into production with high grade gold? It's a pretty good story on the capital side of things.
Absolutely. I think investors would be licking their lips with that. So no, absolutely. And so, what's the next stage? What are we up to looking forward? What's in our pipeline?
Okay, so look, right at present, there's a lot happening. We've got our team, which is working as we speak on the plant at Hill End Reward, and they're busily taking components out that's going to be sent down to Ballarat. And we purchased a plant from Morningstar at a very, very good price, which was perfectly amenable to use with what we're doing, a gravity plant. It wasn't working for them so well because their ore wasn't compatible with gravity, but certainly for us, it's ideal. It was built by Gecko. We've moved it to the Gecko factory. Those guys are fantastic. We're really really pleased with what they're doing, and we've probably known those guys, Declan and I, for a lot of years. So We understand how they work, and they're sort of working with us to build a plant, not overdo it, not too much capital involved, but merge what we have or parts of what we had at the Reward mine and put it with this new componentry, then bring in the sorter, and then we have this U-Butte plant built in Ballarat. Then it gets pulled down again because it's reasonably modular, and then we bring it up and install it at Hill End. Now, while I was saying those guys were pulling that material down, then they're getting ready for the plant to come up. So there's the civil work, the concreting. We've got to do some more modifications or additions to our gold room. We're putting in a Wilfrey table, which we've already purchased, and making a better system for security with the gold room. And our guys are also working on the other assets that we have there, which include all the offices, the change rooms, our generators. There's just a lot of infrastructure there, water, and then they'll start working on tails lines, upgrading those, and various other things. So a lot happening there, all aiming towards the end of the year. We did get a little bit of a delay due to a bit of bureaucracy in the Victorian government to get in access to move the Morningstar plant that we'd paid for. Very frustrating, but it did hold us up for 6 weeks. So we are a little bit behind, but we're trying to catch that up. But the plan is that we want to be in production at the end of the year. We do have a number of other things that we will be having to do during that period. We've got magazines to be put in for the explosives, and we're working on that at the moment. Not where the area we've got to do. We've got to acquire some more gear. There'll be some underground gear. There'll be a drill rig. We're needing to start onboarding people, and so far we've been very, very lucky. We've got a great team, a lot of really locals that are just there that we've had the skills. Electricians and boilies and skilled miners we have found locally so far. We still have more on board, but yeah. So a lot happening for that, for what we're doing, and we will be working on and developing a better or more robust PFS around our changes that we have made since we did the initial PFS.
Absolutely. With the PFS, what sort of criteria are we going to be working with that, especially around gold price? Are we looking for a bull and a bear market sort of situation, or are we just going to be going with the same one spot price, what we is today, and go from there?
Lachlan, look, one of the things that I can say is that probably most of the people that are watching this webinar believe in gold. So that's the first point. I wouldn't be doing this if I didn't believe that gold was going to at least hold up. I don't have any idea where gold's going to go, but all I can say is, with 35 years in this industry, grade is king.
Grade is king. There we go.
Grade is king, and be very wise about how you manage risks and step into it with eyes wide open. Ramp up. Don't try to be too ambitious. This project has years and years and years to go. I believe it will be one of Australia's most famous high-grade gold mines. We're in one of an area where 40 k's as the crow flies in the Lachlan Fold Belt from Australia's largest gold mine called Cadia. We are part of a massive system where our tenements are over 34 kilometres long. We have 10 kilometres of mining leases. Only a couple, not even 1 kilometre is drilled out. We're only drilled down to 200 metres. And historically, there's been 1.8 million ounces come out from above us. In fact, and look, this could be debatable, but it's certainly an exciting story we're telling. We're mining underneath the old Hawkins Hill mine, and those guys mined in the 1870s. 435,000 ounces at 309 grams per tonne. That's 10 ounces a tonne, right? That's only 100 odd metres above us, and a sort of couple of 100 meters along strike. And we believe this thing's plunges. We believe that there's more high grade, even though our resource is 17 grams at the moment. You know, we do believe that there'll be patches of extremely high grade gold again. Just also keeping in mind the largest piece of gold, largest piece of gold ever to come out of this planet was brought out of the mine just above where we're going to be mining. It was called the Holdeman Nugget. It was 286 kilograms of solid gold.
Wow.
So we are in high grade gold country. So I'll just get back to that point. Grade and we're very confident that we're going to be able to keep building that inventory up and producing high grade gold, and hopefully we don't have to worry too much about gold price. Let our punters out there that are investing in us work out where they think the gold price is going.
Well, the question from that also goes on to say, when should we expect the updated PFS to come out?
Look, we're probably a little bit off it. We've got so many other things that we sort of need to push into it.
Yeah.
Nothing really has changed in the longer term to the original PFS. It's just that what we've changed is two things. One is that we need to ramp up over the first 6 months with throughput. Secondly, we're going to start on the stockpiles, given they're 3 grams, and also we're bringing in a sorter. Now, what the ore sorter does is those stockpiles go from being 3 grams to going into the plant to the concentrator at 16 grams. Now, you know, clearly we're reducing a number of things, a number of costs, including we're only going to need to run the plant on a couple of days a week while we're doing the stockpiles. We got very, very little tailings, and we've got material that we can put back into the mine as what we call fill into the stopes, so we can do our uphill rising. And so that's what we've changed. And from that, we've changed our capital costs. Our development now, we're not needing to open up the adit to 3.5 by 3.5. We're only going to leave it where it is. We've got a team coming in next week to do a little bit of rehab and check scale it. And there's a few technical terms there, sorry, but we're just going to be cleaning it up a bit. But it will do for what we need to do now under this new ore sorting technique. And that saves us $8 million in pre-production capex. Now, that's where we're saying, well, let's de-risk this. Let's not go out and borrow a lot of money and have concerns around timing on what we're doing. We can start this up, run it, making sure we're onboarded people and the right people are there, making sure that we're making money and we've got a less of a debt and less capital expenditure. So that's what we need to incorporate into our PFS. Also, as we ramp up, and we plan to ramp up to produce a lot more ounces than what we have been put in the original PFS over the longer term. But that requires us to make some adaptations to our consents, and that's much simpler when we have no more environmental footprint. In fact, it's less. We're not yet putting out as much tailings. And this plant sits on probably the size of a normal someone's 600 meter square house block. That's how small this thing is. Wow. Environmental footprint is just so small. And, it's the plant only requires 2 people to run because it'll be state-of-the-art Gecko systems in there and quite automated. So this is, even the ramp up does not change our environmental footprint much.
Well, we did have a few questions coming through a bit earlier to the webinar, and members and guests, if you want to submit a few questions that you have open, you have the opportunity to put it into the questions tab below at the moment. We'll try and get through to all of them. But a lot of it was to do with more or less going forward with the company? It sounds like a lot of people are very happy with how you've set it up and how things are going forward. But there's questions about, for example, how much cheaper is it for the company to own and operate its own drill rig versus contracting it? In what order will the company drill its targets, and when could we expect this to start, for example?
Okay, look, probably for some people that know me, I've owned and operated, started out as a geological contractor that bought drill rigs. So I've had a lot of experience in drilling and understand underground drilling very well. But that's probably not the sole reason around having an owner-operator. One of the reasons around having owner-operator with the drilling is that we really need to be focused on the grade. Lachlan, I can't talk and express this enough that grade is king.
Yeah.
We need to drill for targets and hit targets. We don't need to drill for meters. Contractors get paid by the meter and like to just and push it out. The other thing is that we won't be able to keep up with a 24/7 drilling operation from our bandwidth that we have and with the areas that we've got to have available for development underground. Drilling from underground takes a bit to prepare sites and have them ready. If you have a contractor, you really need to be making sure that they've got availability to sites to drill. And when they are drilling there, you've got that cost of 24/7. We are planning just to do a day shift with our own, just two people, and they drive in, drive out, keep it simple, and make sure that they're targeting what they need to. And that's the same with all our staff. Every person's going to be incentivized to make sure that we mine gold and we don't mine mullock. We mine and produce or process gold. That's our aim. And to do that, we want to make sure that we got our own people on board on as much of the process as we can. There'll be some contractors for sure. That's inevitable.
Well, going forward, obviously, this is a big opportunity for a lot of people, and for yourself, Roger, it's a massive opportunity being a part of the company as well. What's the corporate structure going to look like going furthermore? There's obviously, would you say you're going to stay on as director going on, or you're going to probably think about a full-time hire as the CEO going forward?
No, absolutely keen to stay on. Look, I know this project, but B, the skill set that I have and the board that has the board that we have now is perfectly suited to this. I've been involved in mining in New South Wales. I spent 18 years in Cobar. A lot of that was to do with underground mining, and we've been in subsequent setups of other mines around Australia. I also have a director, Declan Fransman, who's in my view, one of the better underground gold mining engineers in Australia, and he's on board. He's actually taking the responsibility as project manager to get this project up and running. He's also the registered mining engineer taking responsibility for the mine, and that says something about the directors. Tully is a local. He's from Orange. He's a geologist and knows the geology around the area. So no, the team works well. I believe that the way we've got this set up works well. We are probably going to be also putting on key management people. I will remain as executive chairman, but not the day-to-day activities are probably going to roll into a proper management team and a mining team. But we do want to really stay focused on maintaining a very tight ship, and as I said, focus on getting gold out of the ground and not mullock.
Absolutely. So take on the CEO role a bit more full time coming forward, or what's the plan with that then?
Yeah, more than likely, yes.
Yeah.
That's the
Love
case.
to hear it. No,
Yeah.
Love to hear it. Well, obviously, what's the next big catalyst over the next 3 to 6 months that investors should be looking towards?
Yeah, look, that's always the problem when you're moving to production, and we've got this hiatus between now and when we do get into production, which is at the end of the year or January.
Yeah.
And that's it does, this market, there is a sentiment there that you need to have news out, or people get bored and move on. So we have got a number of stories that will be also running parallel with this. Of course, we've got two other fabulous mines or projects nearby HILL END. Not that we're going to be needing them for some time, but we'll be resourcing those, or upgrading the resource. We've drilled out some more of the along strike at Hargraves. At this stage, we want to just upgrade the resource there. That should be exciting. We're going to probably try to get some drilling done before the end of the year over our exploration target, but it may roll into next year. And we're going to be releasing, I guess, at the PFS. We're also going to be talking about, I guess, the stages of getting us into production and where we're at, and some other things that probably I don't want to, put too much pressure on myself at this stage about what we've got. But suffice it to say, we're working on some, and we'll have more than what I've just mentioned, Lachlan.
Absolutely. Well, that sounds bloody exciting. I'll tell you that much. It sounds like announcement after announcement is the key pipeline at the moment, and definitely what you've got in line is a lot of work. So it sounds like head down, bum up sort of situation, getting it all done. But for yourself, I think for those investors that are thinking about a gold producer, for yourself, Roger, why are you guys?
Look, I think one of the main factors around this being an exciting story is not only the high grade gold and getting into production, but this is a big, amazing system. And I've already sort of run by this a little bit earlier, but what we've got is a set of parallel reefs that sit on the eastern side of an anticline with a fault that's fed it. And we've seen all the way along over the, I guess, the 800 metres there, that this is high grade. There's been, a couple of million ounces taken out of it. But the old timers, when they mine this area, they mined for literally 25 kilometres of strike. And how we know that is we've ran a LiDAR across a high intensity LiDAR across the full extent of our tenements. And Lachlan, there's over 3,650 workings and shafts that the old miners took. Now, this is in reasonably rugged country, reasonably isolated, and probably reasonably harsh. They didn't do that unless it was good grade gold. Now, if you look at our drilling and where we're mining, the maximum holes are only a bit over a couple of 100 metres deep. They're only centred around that Hawkins Hill area and Reward area where we are. There's no serious drilling beyond that. And this has so much potential to be a very, very large system, and potentially one of, Australia's premier gold mines in the future. But we need to get into production to make some money, to be able to drill this out and I guess make money, give the shareholders some value out of production, but also give the company some real blue sky out of our drilling going forward.
Absolutely. And that sounds excellent. I think investors are going to be pretty happy with that one. And I think, along the way, as announcements come out, we'll have to do a few more interviews to catch up and touch base. But if there's no more questions from the audience, we might wrap it up with things from there. If investors do have some questions, Roger, what's the best way to get in touch with you?
Oh, look, Roger at Vertex vertexminerals.com.au.
Lovely, lovely. We'll get them to submit some questions through there if they do have some. But apart from that, I think it's been an absolute pleasure from our side, especially. Thank you very much, Roger, for joining us. I know that a few investors, probably from my end, are probably going to be calling me up after this to have a chat. But we look forward to having you in the next one, and hopefully in the next 3 or 6 months, we can have a chat about how well production's been going.
Absolutely, and thank you very much, Lachlan, and thank you for the people out there that have joined us. Thank you for that.
Beautiful. If you didn't see the whole recording of see this live, there will be a recording on YouTube, so we have access to that. But apart from that, have a lovely day, everyone, and we'll talk soon. Catch you later.